The OGs,
OGs right here.
OGs here.
The creaking bones. So we are here at TRCMA. You saw us a minute ago if you were watching. Now we're live on our channel and about 4 others. And we're here with Bob Phillips from
the legendary OG.
Literally.
Good to be with you OGs as well.
It's like every time we're together, I look back and I'm like, my God, we've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, long time. But TRCMA is awesome.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Gosh, dude.
So,
every year it's so fun to be here.
I think if you watch it they don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So all the energy and effort that goes into it.
Yeah, and then the enthusiasm. I mean, every trade show is good. Most trade shows are good, but there's always that one little aspect where people are like, none of that happens here. Everybody's excited.
Well, I can tell you, Team PNS, we now use this as a launching platform. We have 2 release dates. One is TRCMA, and the other one's in August. That's when we release products, because we love to release products in April because it's prior to the summer season, and we love to release products in August because it's just prior to SEMA. We always thought, like, why would you release a product at SEMA? Nobody's been able to touch it.
Yeah.
Release it in August, they want to come here and see what you have.
Yeah,
So you guys have continued to literally in the last couple of years, you guys have innovated and come up with all kinds of cool stuff. It's always fun. It's always like with a fun twist. Right? Somebody else will put out a product and they go, we got this new soda. But you guys have like this new line of products like Rehab and you give them fun names. And then now, and I know who influenced this a lot, but now you have all these fun scents.
Yeah,
that
we
are
got a
in
lot of
there.
sense. Yeah,
You got a lot of smelly stuff.
Yeah. Pain recovery system.
The paint recovery.
Intervention, rehab, and therapy.
That's right. Some paint
But you know
therapy.
the names of the products, not the products themselves, but the names were thought of on a plane flying to Sydney's car show last year.
Yeah.
Literally. Alan Metcalf sitting across the aisle from me, and we're like, dude, rehab, that's such a great name. Yeah, but if we had a heavy compound, what are we going to call it? He goes, well, what do you mean? You go to intervention. You got to have an intervention before rehab, and after rehab, you got to have therapy. So we're like, okay, it's called the pain recovery system.
I love it.
That's clever.
And I go,
That's so
are we
good.
nuts? And we're like, no, we're not nuts. We're going to do it because quite frankly, we've had so much fun with the name rehab.
Yeah.
You know, the walk-up song, Amy Winehouse.
Yeah,
yeah. All of that, and so then we're just like, hey, we just got to keep going.
Well, and it makes it memorable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets entrenched in your mind.
And rehab is a memorable product because it's performs so great, so easy, all those things. And the 2 other products that we added, intervention, more aggressive compound, and therapy, the less aggressive or just a finished product. They all have that characteristic where it's like long working time, easy wipe off, no dust. And if you're a detailer,
Those are the 3 things you need.
dust.
So let's nerd out just a little bit. Dave will be squirming, thinking we're real cool now. But what is the enhanced working time? Is it because it's a water based, or is it because of the different polymers that are in it?
you're
Or
asking the wrong
I
guy.
know.
It's funny because Dave has formulated products, pain correction products. Early on, that was kind of like his secret sauce.
Yeah.
And then his secret sauce kind of became detail spray and interior cleaners. And then so rehab just kind of came out of nowhere. And it was one of these things he goes, you got to help with it. And I'm like, the worst thing you can have as a detailer is when you're correcting and all of a sudden it just kind of starts to dry.
Yes.
You're like, ugh. And then you got 2 options, right? You either apply more product, which really isn't what you should do.
Right.
Or you take a detail spray and you work your ass off to wipe it off,
Which is
where you just want to keep going, and then when you're done, you just want to wipe it off. And the fact that intervention now is an aggressive product, and even when I say it, it doesn't work in my brain. When I tell somebody, it's like, this is an aggressive compound that doesn't dust. Because quite frankly, it doesn't compute, right?
But I think that's what people really want is, again, nobody wants to have a product that has such a small working time that you're worried about getting it off.
You're racing
instead
yourself.
of worrying about actually correcting the paint. You want it to have a long enough working time, and dust is your worst enemy because now you're just putting more crap on the paint.
Well, and so what happened is rehab out a year. We launched rehab. PNS style is just go out humble. You don't want to tell anybody it's the greatest because, quite frankly, do we really know it's the greatest?
Right.
Not till you get it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you really don't know. We could test it a lot. It's incredible. But until you get it out in detailers' hands and then you get that feedback from detailers like, so what's going on with rehab? And then we're like, okay, now we got to build something off that. And so actually it was interesting. I use the term for detailers. You know, when you're doing paint correction, you always want that process, whatever the process is, to bring the surface forward.
Yeah.
When I say that, because you guys have detailed a lot, we've all done a lot of paint correction. You know, when you're trying to find the right combination on paint, and you pull the product off the shelf, and you put it on the pad, and you start to correct, and you're like, whoa, that was not the right direction, right? It made the problem worse, or it created more work for the detailer. One of the things about the PNS paint recovery system, it never creates more work. It always brings the paint forward. It's awesome. Anyway.
Yeah, well,
proof's in the pudding. We'll see. I mean, we got to see everybody. I think one of the things is we're still gonna be in this world where everybody's gonna use rehab.
Right.
Because quite frankly, 80% of the jobs you do, rehab.
Yeah.
There's no reason, but we
Right.
know we need something more, and we know we need something less. So now we have it.
That's
But
awesome.
I think the thing about that is that it's not necessarily like a good, better, best. It's what works for that particular part. And one of the nice things about PNS is you guys have one of the best R&D facilities in Boise, Idaho at Sydney Breakawin's shop.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys know Sydney or not, but if she's got something that isn't working, you're going to know about it in a good way. She'd be like, you know what, this needs this or this needs that. And I think that is for a detailing company to get your products in the hands of detailers so you can get that feedback. A lot of people will wait and they'll just be like, oh no, our R&D department does it, and then we're just going to release it. And then you're like, oh my God, this dust's everywhere and it's horrible.
And also, realistically, it's the relationship with David that makes it.
Oh,
Yeah, the fact that she can come back and go, well, you know, I should do this. He goes, all right, got an idea. And then he can get it to her that quick. He's right there.
He's right there.
And so that is a winning combination.
The interview right here. And we got Dave, the other half here.
Yeah.
We were
just bragging about you.
The one thing that I literally, I'm glad you're here because I've told this story before, but one of the things I really like about Dave is your concern and care for the products that you've created. So there's a story that we were at a specific museum and I sprayed some product on an airplane. And these airplanes are restored, so it was not an aircraft product, right? So the paint started to crinkle up and bubble and literally almost fall off the plane. And you were the first one over there. You're like, oh my God, what did you use? Let's get over there. And then we found out from the guy that's restoring it. He's like, oh, just let it off gas. It's just a crappy paint we use on the same color. But the concern you had for your product, it was literally like you were watching your baby. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what's fun. And you've been doing this for so long as far as formulating products that, you know, we were just talking about saying somebody coming going, okay, I want something that has a longer working time. And then there you go. You're in the
I've usually at least got 2 or 3 ideas of where I can start at, right? So it's nice.
And it's a mindset of detailers. I love this. They're like, so if it cuts and you have abrasive in there, just put more in it. It'll make it more aggressive. No, that's not how it works.
Make it more dusty.
Make it more dusty.
Make it more dusty.
Right.
So,
But you know, to be fair, I mean, you know, I've had to run through that scenario. What happens when I put more, you know, so how much more cut do you get? You know, it's like, well, you want 30% more cut and you get 5 and you double your cost. You're like, no, that's not it.
Right. But then the other thing is working with different products to make sure that you don't get that dusting or that you get the specific diminishing that you want. And that's what I think is so unique about everybody's products is there isn't just one product for everything. That's, again, back to the system you have. You've got 3 specific ones. If you need a little more, here it is. Everybody knows that paint, on any given day, your paint is going to be difficult. You're going to pull a Chevy truck from Boise, Idaho that sits in 100-degree weather, and that paint is hard as rock. It's going to need a specific product. Then you get something that's been repainted, it's going to be softer, and you're going to need a different product. So you've got all those things in your tool belt, and you guys have, I don't even know how many products you guys have. The table this morning, there's probably 12, 50. I mean, there's tons of them, but a lot of them, we've been very lucky. We consider ourselves very blessed because we've had an opportunity to get some of the PNS products in our hands before they even went out. When they were in
So I have a question about that too,
Yeah.
right? As you look at your product line, do you see like 3 to 5 that are just detailer staples?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's easy. You know, Express, the interior system,
I love
Swift, you know, Brake Buster. I mean, you know, it's the winners that continue to sell. But what's interesting is we talk about too many. And I know I've told you guys this story, but one of the reasons we came out with Double Black was so that we could narrow down the choices.
Right.
Because it was always frustrating to me when I walked into a detail shop and I opened up their catalog, I'm like, oh my God, you got like 50 products here.
Yeah.
How do you know what to use?
Right.
Because realistically, we all know you need about 8,
Yeah.
10.
And the one thing that
Maximum.
blows me away is there's always that one bottle on the middle shelf that doesn't have the cap anymore, and it's taped on, and the bottle's from 1947, and you're like, that's not going to be effective for anything. That's rocks and gravel. It's done now.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that I really like about. So Beadmaker. One time I was literally with you when somebody made a comment about Beadmaker. It's separating. It's doing this, and man, it's just over in the corner, shaking it up, figuring it out. And some of those products are so unique when they come out that I have a tendency, believe it or not, to be on the nerdy side. And I'm like, well, how many polymers are there? Is this SiO2 or what is it in this that makes it do that? And the first time I saw the rinses, right, and I watched. Sydney gave me this idea. She's like, spray one half of the hood and let it emulsify, and then don't spray the other half and see what it does when you spray it off. And I'm literally spraying this, and I'm watching the dirt emulsify in it and come off in the drips.
It just rolls off.
And my
Yeah.
wife comes out and she goes,
Fun.
what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, look at this. Look at the way the dirt collects on here rolls off. She's like, oh yeah, you are a nerd.
You are
a
a
total nerd. But it's really cool to see it because the science behind it is that it's lifting that dirt up off of the car and it's pulling it off. And I did it. I took rinseless and I just put it into a spray bottle, sprayed half the hood with bugs, went over, and the amount of time it took me to set up the pressure washer, pressure washed it. That side they came off of, the other side there was still stuff there.
Yeah.
And it works. Stuff works. So I think it's great. We also give you guys credit a lot for our inventory management system in the software because you guys are one of the ones that were really pushing us to do that. So we really appreciate
I wish we could have done more in the early days.
Yeah,
we-
dude,
right?
dude,
You know,
I
you
mean,
got
we're
us
kind of
so
early
right.
partnering, kind of. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that we did that much.
We
Oh,
did
dude, you
plenty.
actually
We
gave
did
us a
plenty,
good kick
so.
in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that's just what it is, right? You spark an idea and you go off in the chemistry set and do it, or you go
We
back
can do
and,
that.
and give it to the programmers, and the programmers go,
Same
I
as
don't
me.
know how I'm going to do it,
And
but I'll figure it
Truth
out.
be told, you guys know this. Early on at SEMA, we didn't have that many people. You guys
No.
were like, hey, we'll come in your booth. I'm like, we're working your booth. I'm like, you guys are working our booth. I'm like, this is fantastic.
Yeah,
You're like,
I was talking about your product.
It's just me, Dave, and Rennie. That's all we had, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, when you
Oh
look
yeah.
at it.
Well,
Yeah.
there's been opportunities. There was one day at SEMA where everybody was gone to lunch and I was the only one there, and I'm trying to answer product questions about P&S, and this guy walks in with a white shirt that says Porsche, and it led to us going to the Porsche experience
Oh, yeah.
to try to sell
Remember
that?
detailing
Yes,
products.
yes,
So
exactly.
opportunities
I forgot about
arise
that.
if you actually open your eyes and take advantage of it. So,
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so
Yeah.
much. I mean, we always love hanging with you. You always have great energy, great products, and we just love you guys. You guys are
Cheers to
awesome.
you guys.
Feelings mutual. For
Yep.
sure.
So keep tuning in. Go out there again. Remind everybody the amount of discount you're getting this particular week and
Oh,
into
gosh.
next week on the products.
25%.
Just
on a lot of
go
stuff.
order what you need right now. Get it coming because this is probably not going to see a 25% discount the rest of
So
the.
go over to YouTube TRCMA.
And then while you're there,
tap
go over to
in.
YouTube at RoadFS and subscribe to both of them.
That's right. So we will
All right,
check
guys.
you later.
See you.
See you.
Cheers.